Galnet News Digest, 20th of October 3306. We read the news so you don't have to. In this week's news roundup, shooting pheasants in the Wedgehead Nebula. Imperials search the haystack. Vincent delay spells trouble for Hudson. Twisting the wheel. Shooting pheasants in the Wedgehead Nebula. At least 4 systems in the Wedgehead Nebula have already been saved from Thargoid infestation, following the Alliance call to arms last Thursday. The rather well-behaved Thargoid invasion fleet has attacked 5 systems: Onoros, Lembas, Haki, Wellington and Shenva. The Alliance initiative is to beat the Thargoids back from these systems, and the Golden Stag megaship in the Onoros system is collecting combat bonds from those participating. With only hours left, at least 4 of the 5 systems will have been saved from ongoing Thargoid infestation. Commanders may be spurred on by the Alliance offer that those commanders who achieve the top 75% of contributions will have Guardian Frameshift Drive Booster technology unlocked, and will have a size 4 Frameshift Drive Booster added to their inventory at the Golden Stag megaship by Saturday the 24th of October. Some members of the Anti-Xeno Initiative, which specialises in anti-Thargoid combat, and which has been at a loose end since July last year, have called for the Thargoids to be encouraged to recolonise the Wedgehead Nebula, out of which they were driven last year. These members of the AXI find themselves temporary allies with the Xenohuggers, such as Holt, who believe there are plenty of meta-alloys for everyone, and there's absolutely no need to go around shooting people just because they have 8 legs, a chitinous exoskeleton, and a berserker approach to warfare. However, the reason the AXI wants the Thargoids to recolonise is rather different from the Xenohuggers. To AXI, it appears, protecting humanity comes second to the sport of shooting Thargoids. They are nurturing the Thargoids in the same way that a gamekeeper nurtures pheasants, all the while polishing their anti-Xeno equivalent of double-barrelled shotguns. In related news, the human technology broker at Bray Landing in Yuanjia is currently offering Thargoid, Guardian and human technology unlocks at a discount, and numerous fleet carriers in the system are selling the tradable goods required for the unlock, including the last remaining meta-alloys. Guardian materials required for some of the unlocks, however, remain frustratingly remote. Imperials search the haystack. The Imperial Internal Security Service is believed to be continuing its investigations into who was behind the terror attacks of 10th of September and the assassination of Prince Harold Duval on the 14th of September. There have been no further terror attacks since then, but other than identifying that engineer Liz Ryder unwittingly supplied some of the explosive technology to the terrorists, the IISS seems to have made little progress in its investigation. They have, however, increased the lockdown of Marlinist sympathisers to encompass 9 systems, and there seems to be a likelihood that the net might spread even wider. Finding the terrorists, among a population which arguably has similar political aspirations to the terrorists, is like searching for needles in a haystack. There are reports that, rather than risk arrest and interrogation, many of the pro-Republican Marlinists, who claim they are nothing to do with the terrorists, who call themselves neo-Marlinists, have chosen to leave Empire-controlled space to seek a new life in the Federation. The Empire has demanded that these refugees be returned as potential NMLA criminals, but Federal Ambassador to Semias, Jordan Rochester, has said that he has asked Congress that any Imperial citizens claiming political asylum should be granted that asylum. Prime Minister Edmund Mahon has indicated that the Alliance will also welcome any Marlinist refugees. Vincent delay spells trouble for Hudson. He may or may not have been complicit in the attempted murder of President Jasmina Halsey, and he may or may not have the blood of hundreds of innocent civil servants who died in the sabotage of Starflight 1, But a lengthy delay in bringing Admiral Vincent to trial is likely to spell political disaster for President Hudson. Quite how he managed to avoid being questioned over these crimes back in 3301 is unclear, but the revelation earlier this month that his close friend Admiral Vincent, who did so much to prepare the ground for Hudson to take over from Halsey, appears to be directly implicated in the plot means that until the matter is decided one way or the other in a court of law, the very large finger of suspicion pointing at Hudson is going to make it extremely hard for him to carry out his duties. There appears to be a great deal of cross-party support for Hudson to be impeached, and his popularity rating has never been lower. The way the political system is organised in the Federation, it would be hard to get Hudson to stand down, and while he remains president, he cannot be tried. There are still 2.5 years of Hudson's term remaining, and of course he's not entitled to stand for re-election. Unless Admiral Vincent is exonerated of the crimes he's been accused of, Hudson's remaining 2.5 years as president are likely to be very uncomfortable indeed. Twisting the wheel. The Turning the Wheel initiative, to encourage the mysterious but strangely compliant faction known as the Dark Wheel to establish a presence in Lave, took a wrong turn this week, and they ended up making friends with their new best buddies, the Alliance Rapid Reaction Force, in the ARC system, which is home to Professor Palin and rare good Shan's Charis Orchid. The Dark Wheel have lost no time getting to war with independent Agatavan Labour, and it plans to stomp heavily on the local factions, but it'll work with the Zeonce-based Alliance Rapid Reaction Corps to ensure their continued benevolent domination of the system. The accidental expansion means that it may be many more weeks before the Dark Wheel expands into Lave, and the interdimensional portal that is Raxxla finally opens. And that's this week's Galnet News. Galnet News, we read the news so you don't have to.